again for week number 3, right, of doing this. This is our 3rd week of doing YouTube Live, and so as we normally do, we're going to give some time for some people to join on. You can text this link to all your friends or your homies or whatever you call them nowadays. If you want to just comment and say hi, let us know you're here. That'd be awesome. In just a few little bits, we're going to do some 20 questions, and you get to try to guess what in the world we're describing. So if you just want to type hello, say hey, let us know you're here. You can hop off real quick and go send this link to 1,000 of your closest friends. Make sure they're watching as well, and then we'll get started as we get into week 3. No, it's week 2 of our Kingdom series, but it's week 3 of doing this YouTube thing. Yeah, so, and then if you'll notice, of course, we're in an aquarium this week. So I've been doing lots of fishing, so sorry to all of you guys, as I will see you next week. Not really, just kidding. So, yeah, let us know you're here. Comment, say hi. So, yeah, we'll give you guys a few more minutes to hop on and get started here. I know some people last week thought we started at 7, and so they didn't hop on until a little bit later, and that's okay. Not going to call anybody out on live YouTube, but that's all right. So, again, we'll give you a few minutes to hop on here. Text a million of your closest best friends, or even, I guess, 5 would work too. And let us know you're here. Comment, say hi. I can see that you're watching because it tells me how many of you are viewing this currently. So I guess it's kind of maniacal to say that while I'm like doing this hand thing. That's kind of uncomfortable there.
And I'm gonna have to learn how to share links on my Instagram story. That's the thing. I think I got it, but that's showing my age.
I don't know that I know how to.
I
can like share it to the bio, but I don't know that I know how to share. Because I know people always say like swipe up, but I don't know what swiping up looks like.
It's showing my age, I guess. I'm actually newish to Instagram. I'm gonna like in the last year-ish.
Oh wait, swipe up link. It just wants you to add an IG video, but it doesn't let me add a normal. We're trying to learn, if you're just tuning in, we're trying to learn how to share a link in our Instagram stories. So Kyle said he's showing his age. I'm like young. Not that Kyle isn't. Nothing against you, pal.
No, that's all right.
But I don't know how to do that. So if you know how to share a link in your story on YouTube, will you comment that and let us know? Because like I said, we're trying to figure out how to do that.
I got it. Add video to your story. Woo!
This is weird.
There we go. Learning.
I feel untechnologized.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Taryn, you said that you and Rihanna can't comment on the live stream. Did I like turn something off on the comments? Welcome to the chat. Unable to connect to chat. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, Taryn, we'll try and do another troubleshooting thing here, and I'll comment, and I'll say, hi, Taryn, and I'll see if I can comment. And it says I can comment, so I don't know what the dealio is there. Maybe, like, refresh your app. We're going to figure things out tonight, folks. But we're going to get started. So if you can't comment, Kyle, so yep, you can comment too. So, yeah, let us know you're here. If you can't comment, we're going to play 20 questions. We have 2 items down here that you get to ask 20 questions about, and we will answer them truthfully. To do that, if you can't comment, just text Kyle or I, and let us know what your question is. So if you don't have my number, I'm sorry. If you want it, text me and let me know, and I'll send it to you.
You're not going to share it over a live stream?
Yeah, if you can't comment, then just go ahead and text us your questions. Other than that, we're going to get started. So if somebody wants to ask their first question, remember there are 20 questions total, not individually. Otherwise, that'd take all night. So comment your question or text your question or something like that. Let us know. We're going to get started here with 20 questions.
And we're going to need a question to start.
Yeah, as a question to start would be necessary to play this game. So
be brave.
We'll see who the first person is. That's weird that some people can't comment, or I don't know how to change that. I don't know if that's a thing I can do. Settings. Is there like a setting I can change? That'd be nice. What are these settings over here?
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Nothing I can do to change it, I don't think. Well, that makes me wonder then, because nobody else has commented. Can anyone else comment on this video? Maybe it's just a I don't know, problem we're having. If you can't comment, then I suppose don't comment and we'll move on. But if you have a question, like I said, go ahead and text it to us. Other than that, we're going to get started. Yeah, so Sunny just said, I'm watching, but I can't, I'm not able to comment. So something must have been...
Oh, we got comments.
Oh.
Nash and Sarah.
Nash, okay, so we have some people commenting. So Nash says, is it a food? We're going to start with the smaller one.
All right.
That thing, whatever you call that. So no, it's not food. So hey, Sarah. Hey, Maddie. So if you're just tuning in, we're playing 20 questions. We've got 2 items here. We're going to start with the smaller of the 2. You just let us know what your questions are. You can either text them in if you can't comment to either of us, or you can comment it. Let us know what your 20 questions are. You have 19 questions left. Creighton says, is it living? It is not. It is not living.
Not living.
Alyssa with the pro tip here. She said you have to log in to comment. So if that is you, if you need to log in to comment, you go for it.
Man, she's techie.
Yeah, look at her.
By putting us to shame.
So that's 2 questions.
Shout out.
We have 18 to go to figure it out. So it's not living and it's not a food. What else do you think? Remember, you can text in your questions or you can comment those. But keep asking questions. Sarah says, is it Germex? No. Well, this isn't actually brand Germex. This is Kroger brand. But no, it is not. It is not Germex. That's a good one, though.
3 questions.
So what do you think? What are some other questions? Alyssa said she learned from the best. Who would teach her about technology?
I don't know.
Is she meaning you?
I would hope she was meaning me.
I feel like...
But she's got lots of friends.
That's true.
So maybe she has this tech wizard.
Maybe.
That she contacts.
Maybe, yeah. Gotta be on the lookout there. So what are some other questions you've got? We've got, it is not food, it is not living, and it is not Germex. So that would be 17 more. Alyssa said, stop wasting our questions. So keep asking. Let us know. Can you wear it?
No.
You cannot.
You cannot wear it.
I mean, maybe if you put a chain on and wrapped it around like a piece of rope or something. But no, you shouldn't wear it.
It's not meant to be worn.
Not meant to be worn. Yes, that's a good way to put it. So that was a good question, Sarah. So anybody else? What are some more questions? That's 4, right?
You know, for someone that says stop wasting our questions, hasn't asked a question.
That's true. Alyssa, ask your question. So what's interesting to me, there are 15 people on, but 4. I don't know. I'm just saying.
You know, as a teacher, there's no dumb questions, right?
There are not.
Right?
But Alyssa's a teacher, and she said that, can it fit in my hand? Yeah. I think so.
Not like closed hand, not like closed fist in your hand, but yeah, you can hold it in one hand.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could put your fingers around it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can
grip it.
You can. Yeah.
It's not like it's not like something you're holding like large. Yeah.
Right. And I'm really bad at this because I keep wanting to say more, but I have to stop myself
that's That's true.
Taryn figured it out.
There we go,
Yay,
Taryn.
And she's got a profile picture and everything. So what are some more questions? That's 5. Does it belong in a house? No, it does not. It does not belong in a house. Some people might live in where it belongs, though.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You think that's a fair thing to say?
I think it's fair. Gotta give them some hints.
So remember, it's not a food. It's not living. You can't wear it. It is not Germex. It can fit in your hand. You can't wear it. Does it belong in a house? No. So that's 7 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got to get some more questions here. So make sure and comment a question. Remember, we're playing 20 questions.
I'm not doing my counting. 7?
That's 7. Okay, I think we're at 7. Yeah. So we've got, I can't do the math, 13 more. So let us know some more questions. Think hard. Think fast, I suppose, or faster than we have been.
Yeah. Come on, rapid fire questions.
I suppose if the rapid fire questions start to slow down, then we'll just do one item before we get started here. Can you see it? You don't have to say it. Okay. It's okay. No, you're right. I think that's a good question, though.
I think it's invisible.
I mean, I suppose it could have.
Could have been. I guess.
I mean, I could be holding it in my hand right now. I could be. I could be if it was invisible.
If it was invisible.
Like when we said, does it fit in a hand? Yeah. Like we could have been saying, like, why, yes.
Hypothetically, it could be in my hand.
It does. My invisible hamster right here. So that's 8. 12 more.
Come on, you quiet people.
12 more. Does it belong in a car? Yes.
It does.
It belongs in a car. Good question, Creighton. Yes, so it belongs in a car. It can fit in your hand. You should not wear it. You do not eat it. It is not living. It is not Germex. You can see it. Does everyone own one? No. Lots of people do.
Yeah.
But no. Not everyone owns one. Jacob said, is it heavy? No.
No.
It's not heavy. I like the questions are kind of moving a little quicker now.
There we go. We're starting to get
that's what we were waiting on, yeah. So what do you think?
Come on, come on, come on.
So it does belong in a car. That's a good question to ask. Think maybe broaden your questions a little bit. Like, I don't want to give it away, but I feel like we're not.
We like rapid fire and then we stopped for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe we picked a good item if it's difficult to.
Yeah, very good.
So I'm going to give a hint, but let's say it belongs in a car.
Ooh, okay, smell good.
I don't know that.
No.
I don't think it has a smell.
No scent.
I don't think it's no scent. So I'll give it. Is it a tool? Creighton says no. It's not a tool. Is it part of the engine? No. Sarah says no. So think maybe it's something that you might see in here, but it's a version that's not alive and that's in your car. So that's a pretty. I mean, I think that's a pretty good hint.
Yeah.
So it's something you might see back here in our aquarium that we put in the youth room. That's what I've been doing in my free time since we haven't.
Feeding the fish.
Feeding the fish. Yeah, cleaning the tank and stocking.
It's the best.
Yep. Yeah.
You've chosen wisely.
So I think by the time this is all over, this will be a fully functioning rainforest cafe.
That would be
in the
super
youth room.
cool.
Yeah. So
with cliff diving.
With cliff diving, yeah, just like the one in Denver. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool place. There used to be one in Tulsa, in Oklahoma.
Really?
There was a Casa Bonita, but they didn't have cliff divers.
Oh, that's sad.
But
did they have a gorilla?
I don't think they had a gorilla.
No gorilla.
But it was still cool. But any other questions? So it belongs in a car. You might see one that's alive and real in here. This is not a real one.
Has no scent.
Has no scent. Yep. It is not heavy. It can fit in your hand. Any other questions? Let's see. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 7 more. Is it part of the dashboard? It goes on the dashboard. So it's not a part of it, but I assume once you put it on, it becomes part of it because it's
yeah.
So kind of in a way, it's part of the dashboard.
We're getting there.
We're getting pretty close. I feel like this is promising. This is promising. These are promising questions. Do you turn it on? You do not have to. No batteries, no plug-in. It does not need to be turned on. Good question though. I think that's because it could have been like a radar detector, I suppose.
That's true.
Definitely don't have one of those. What do you think? So that puts us at what?
I'm not doing my job again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 5 more. 5 more questions. Think hard. 5 more questions. 5 more questions. So Madison asked, does it wiggle when you drive? It does. That's a pretty telling question right there.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration as well. But it does. It kind of goes back and forth. That's all I'm going to say about it. feel like that's pretty telling at that point.
Yeah,
I feel like you're getting pretty close.
But you're gonna have to be a little specific, right?
Because it's not a normal one of these. But with the hint I gave, so Maddie said, "Is it an air freshener?" No. Sarah said, "Phone holder." That is wrong. Do guesses count as questions? They don't, right?
I guess not. Oh, Nash asked a good one. Is it a hula dancer? I'll let you answer this question.
Yes, but take into consideration, I need the specifics. It might be found in here. There was one that swam by of a certain type at one point. It might be, so it is a hula dancer, but it's one that might be found in here. So if you can figure it out in the next 15 seconds, other than that, we're going to start to move on.
And it doesn't come with the purchase of the car.
It does not come with the purchase of the car. So bobblehead, that's close.
Yeah, you got to be more specific, though.
So Nash said hula dancer.
That was very close.
So, but I need the exact, let's say, species, for instance, or model of hula dancer. Again, it might be found in here. Shark hula dancer bobblehead.
Sarah Brunk.
Sarah, you've got it.
The champion.
This is a shark hula dancer from my car. I'll kind of hold it as close to the camera as I can get there. This is a shark hula dancer. I got that in Hawaii. That's correct. I got it in Hawaii, not to brag or anything like that. But yes, a shark hula dancer was the correct answer. So did we get it in 20 questions, though? I think we did.
I think we did, too.
Yeah, I think they were like 18. I think we were at 18. So a shark hula dancer is the correct answer for this episode of 20 questions, which I feel like was kind of lame. The 20 questions thing was
well. Once we got in the rapid
once
fire,
we got going, it took a while for people to start.
A little slow.
Maddie said, "It's my fish, Lord Farquaad, wearing a hula skirt." She said he's a renowned fish dancer, and you're bragging about that. Wow. All right. Well,
Lord Farquaad.
All right. Well, so we are in week 2 of Kingdom Talk, and we are talking about the kingdom. And so as we've kind of started to maybe give a definition to this word, Creighton said, question 21, why do you own that? Well, you know, when you go to Hawaii, there's certain things that you buy. Like, you buy a coconut with a straw in it. You buy a surfboard lesson.
Yeah.
You buy a shark hula dancer for your car. And it was in my truck for a while, and then I got tired of having a blind spot that was covered with a shark in a skirt. So I took it off, and I found it in my truck, and I said, you know what would be cool to do 20 questions with? So it's a good item, though. It took you guys a while to guess it.
There you go.
So there's your answer, Creighton. So as we start this, or get more into this idea of the kingdom, remember last week we kind of gave a definition. It's 8 words. It says, God, the kingdom of God is God's reign through God's people over God's place. And so as we're kind of getting into this topic of the kingdom, I first want to start with saying that I get that it might seem kind of difficult to like tune into or take something from, and that's for 2 reasons, I think. One, because it's a hard thing to talk about. Like from the start, like even for, like I was just talking with one of my friends today about like who like went to seminary and was a pastor for a long time. Excuse me, it's not the coronavirus. And he said like, man, the kingdom is hard to talk about. Like it's hard to grasp, to conceptualize. And that's because like the kingdom is kind of this thing that we just don't really talk about a whole lot in like our lifetime or our you know kind of American Western theology. And so we don't talk about it very often. So it might be kind of difficult to start to think about. The other side of it is that we're doing it in this way through our phones and through a computer. We're not doing it like in this awesome room that we're sitting in right now. And like I so miss that, guys. I miss the Wednesday nights. I miss the time where we can come in and we can sing and have worship together. And we can worship and just teaching and talking and doing just basically a whole entire night of worship in a bunch of different ways. And I miss being able to do that with you guys. And I long for the day that we can get back to that. And we can hang out again. Whenever all of this Corona stuff is over, we're going to have just a huge party. And maybe like, I don't know, half-price hot dogs or I don't know. I probably won't charge. Anyway, so as we dive into the kingdom, this idea of the kingdom, Today we're calling this kind of the kingdom narratives, okay? And so maybe you know what a narrative is from your reading class, or maybe you have heard the word narrative, but you don't really know what it means. And so basically, I'll unpack it this way. A narrative is kind of like a story, and like I've said before, like our lives always have stories. If you remember, I told the story about when I put together a lawnmower that came like from IKEA, and I put the blade on wrong, and it like shot out underneath, almost took my foot out. So I told that story. We all have stories, but whether we admit it or know it even or not, we long for our story to fit in to a bigger story. We want to belong to something bigger than us. And I mean, studies will show that like Gen Zers and millennials long to belong. Like before they'll ever believe in a place of worship or in a church family, they want to belong to that family. They want to feel like they belong to a bigger story, a broader story, a bigger narrative. But not always do we operate under like a narrative, a story that we can find in the Bible. Like sometimes, let's take the American dream, for example. So if you haven't heard of the American dream, it's basically like the people who would move to America with nothing, like leave everything behind, have no money, not even speak English. They'd come over across the sea. They would start a business, and they would grow that business and make tons of money, and they would have it all, and that's the American dream. It's like start with nothing and end with pure happiness. So like your narrative that you're living under is like, if I work hard, then I can control my destiny and I'll be happy. Like that's the American dream narrative that is so powerful and is over so many people that it kind of rules over a lot of people that aren't even in the United States. Like everyone just kind of has this dream of like, I'm going to go to America, I'm going to work really hard, I'm going to do what I have to do, I'm going to control my destiny, and I'm going to come out on top. So we all kind of operate under different narratives sometimes. We operate under different stories. And so as we're kind of doing this, there's 4 questions we want to focus on tonight. Those 4 questions are the why are we here, which is kind of, well, I'll get into that later. But so the 4 questions are, why are we here? What's the problem? What's the solution? And how does it end? Those are the 4 questions for tonight. And so that's how you were going to kind of look at a narrative and how it compares to the kingdom narrative, which is the correct narrative we want to get into tonight that we should live under. But we want to start with this. So think about the American dream for a second. If you've heard of it before, if you're just hearing about it for the first time as I'm talking about it, I'm sorry, because I'm probably not doing a great job of explaining it. But the American dream, why are we here? The pursuit of happiness. That's why we're here, because we deserve to be happy. We deserve to have it all. Well, what's the problem? I'm not fulfilled yet. I have nothing. I am just starting out. I want to have more. So what's the solution to that? I work really hard. I control my own destiny. And the win is how it ends is a white picket fence, 2.3 kids, a beautiful dog, a great backyard, a gorgeous 3-story house, a nice car. You've got it all. That's how it ends. There's a lot of narratives like this that can be described when we look at these 4 questions. There's a lot of narratives, and we're going to look at 3 more tonight. And one of those, the last one we're going to look at, is the kingdom narrative and how that kind of compares to how the story of the kingdom and what the kingdom is compares to these other narratives that we sometimes live under. So the first narrative we're going to look at tonight is what I'm going to call the be true to yourself narrative. And so maybe you've heard this phrase before. Like, be true to yourself. Like, I mean, maybe you've really, like, you operate under this, like, I don't care about anyone else, or maybe that's not how you view it, so I'm sorry if I offended you with that, but, like, maybe you say, like, man, I gotta be true to myself. But there's some things in there that might kind of not be right, because it's like, why are we here? We're here because I need to be who I have no concern for anyone else but myself. Sometimes how that comes off. What's the problem? There's a lot of other things that sometimes take the throne, but I want the throne. I want the power. What's the solution? I keep all the power for myself, and I can put myself in charge. And then how it ends is I am in charge of my life. I have all of the power. There's another narrative that we're going to call the Corona narrative, and this is kind of the main one I want to hit on tonight. And I just am like basically completely making this up on the spot, but I think it's relevant, so you got me, God. So the Corona narrative, like, why are we where we are right now in the world? Like, why are we here? Well, we're here because someone tells us we have to stay inside, that we can't be with our friends. We're here because we want to have a good time, but we can't. Everything is being ruined. That's kind of what it looks like. what's the problem? Like, well, that's just it. We can't have fun. We have to stay home. Life isn't what I want it to be. What's the solution? Well, to make life how I want it to be, I can disobey my government orders. I can disobey my parents. I can run the risk of getting sick and dying. Like, I can take things back that I deserved. And what's the end goal is, like, really kind of for a lot of people, and I mean for most of us, it feels like the end goal is we can have fun, but at the risk of getting sick or dying. Like, there's not even a how will it end at this point for a lot of people, because we're just operating under this, like, well, this isn't good. this isn't fun. And we live under these stories and these, like, maybe we were living under, like, think about, like, living under a news story. Like, your life is being shaped by, like, CNN or Fox News or something. Like, I can't imagine. So when we're living under these narratives, we don't have a right view of what our world should really consist of, or what our lives should consist of, how Jesus should fill us. And the Corona narrative sometimes, too, can be filled with, like, okay, why are we here? Like, since I'm home, why am I here? Well, I'm here because I want to grow more in my faith. I want to grow more in my study. I want to study God more. What's the problem? I want to do anything but study. I mean, it's kind of what it feels like. And, well, what's the solution? Do other things that I want to do during this. Well, how does it end? I don't grow. So if we have all this time at home and we're living in this Corona kind of narrative, like, we're not going to be living right. We're not going to be kingdom filled. We're not going to be kingdom warriors. And this is where there's a problem. So the kingdom narrative is a little bit different than everything else. The kingdom narrative is saying, like, well, why are we here? We're here to take back the kingdom. We're here to bring heaven onto earth. We're here to bring heaven moments, kingdom moments. We're here to bring that here. Well, what's the problem? Well, we have kind of stripped the throne of its power in our lives. There's been a defiance against the king. There's been rule breaking. There's been sin against the king of this kingdom. Well, what's the solution? We do kingdom work. We draw in closer to God. And how does it end? We have an eternal kingdom. So this is where the really big difference comes in, is that all of the other things, the endings, end with temporary cool things. Like, I get a cool house, a good car, I get a nice job, I get paid over $100,000 a year. Or maybe your ending is like, I'm true to myself and I have all the power. Maybe your ending is like, you have like you have the Proverbs 31 girlfriend. Like, you have the perfect girl that's like a model on the front of like a magazine, and like everything is perfect. These are temporary things. Like, the things that these other narratives, these other kingdoms promise is not forever. Like, guys, understand that anything that you allow to rule over your life, to have a kingdom, any kingdom you live under in your life that's not God, is going to be a really harsh king. It's going to be a really harsh king. And so as we think about tonight, like, in the kingdom narrative, we're here to take back the kingdom and have this eternal kingdom. I want to kind of think about, so Kyle, this is where I want to open this up. Like, why is it so easy for us to live under any narrative but like a kingdom narrative, or like a Christian kind of, like, not a Christian, that sounds, but like a narrative, a kingdom narrative? I mean, why is it so easy for us to just slip out of that?
Yeah, I think that, oh man, I mean, it's a tough one, because, you know, you start looking at your own life, and you start seeing where I'm falling into those narratives,
right?
Where I'm seeking something. But I think that part of that fall into those other narratives is that I think that, for me especially, I would say that sometimes I think I have the better way, and so that maybe that no one's looking out for me but me,
right?
And not that people don't care or things like that, but you know, that search for meaning, and I think that we fall into those narratives because it's everywhere. You can look. You have examples of it constantly about where you can go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, right back at you. What do you think?
Yeah, it just feels like it feels all too easy, because even like we feel like sometimes we're operating under a kingdom narrative because we say like, I want this perfect life, and I'm gonna like I'm gonna check the check boxes. Like I'm gonna go to church, and I'm gonna like come to youth group, and I'm gonna respond to a group chat or go to small group or whatever. But that's it, and therefore God deserves to give me a really bright and promising future. It's like, God, I've been operating under your kingdom. Why aren't like I'm mad at you for not following through on your promises? Like I've been, even if you like are really wholehearted into it, like I've been doing a devotional every day, and I've been doing this. Like, God, why aren't you giving me what I deserve? Because we kind of can live under what we think is a kingdom narrative, but be operating under like a I deserve this narrative, and that one is so painful to live under, because a lot of times I fall, like myself too, like I fall into this like hard boat of like I'm doing the right things. Why aren't things going my way? Like God deserves to give me a better life because I've been having more passionate prayer. Like God deserves to, like God healed all these other people. Like why doesn't God just magically take away my diabetes because I have been reading my Bible every day? It's like, well, then that my narrative, the story that I want to fit into is a story of me having something temporary that is fulfilling temporarily, and not a story of me furthering the kingdom, growing closer to God. Because the second we put our dependency of God on something that might even has the capability of maybe being fixed someday, then what's the point? Like if I say like, God, I mean, here's like a you know, not an airtight example, but like, God, I need an oil change, and if I get an oil change, that'd just make my world. I'm going to read my Bible every day, and then I get an oil change. Like let's say I win a free oil change, and I'm like, all right, God, peace out. Like when I place my dependency on God via something else, and that something else goes away, then I didn't really have a dependency on God. I had a dependency on that other thing, that hope that was temporary. Like it's so easy to fall into that. Like, God, if you just do this, and then eventually it turns into, God, I deserve this. Like if you just do this, and then it turns into like, God, I deserve this. Like I deserve this perfect. Like I've been through. Like you could say like I've been through 3 really terrible relationships. I deserve 1 good one. Like I deserve to find someone. I deserve to find someone who loves me, or like I deserve to have parents who don't fight, or I deserve to have this. It's like our focus isn't on a kingdom narrative. Our focus isn't on God. Our focus is on fulfilling our own what we want, and not that we shouldn't. I mean, not that those situations don't suck. Not that our lives sometimes aren't like not that we're overreacting, but like it's just so easy to operate under that too, because then it's like if you put it on something temporary, you put it on something easily temporary, then you feel that and you're like, all right, great, life is good. Like if I was like, God, like I hope it reaches 70 degrees, and if it does, then I'll be happy. Then it's like, all right, God, it's 70 degrees, and good.
Yeah. Like
we just so quickly fall out of that, but and so that kind of leads. I guess it doesn't kind of lead, but so like, why do we want? I mean, well, I guess I'll start with this. Do you think that like we all kind of do have a longing to fit into a bigger story? Like a narrative? Like, do you agree that we all kind of naturally just want to fall into a larger narrative?
Yeah, I mean, well, and I think you guys answer that as well. Like, yeah, do we want to? You can comment. You know, do we want to fit into that? For me, I know that that there is a connection. There's this desire to succeed, to fulfill those immediate things, those immediate needs, wants, desires, all the things. And in the moment, I think that we get drawn into that desire. So we fit ourselves into that. Sometimes we're not just in a narrative. Yeah. We have our hand in all these narratives. The American dream is an easy one to get caught up in. Just chasing that job. If I make this amount of money, I'm going to be happy. Or, right. Because we are naturally longing. I think that God made us to long for. I in my personal belief, it's that we desire that because we have that that God-shaped hole in our life,
right?
That we know we are missing something,
right?
We know deep down in my heart, I feel like I know that I'm, that it's just not enough. It's this isn't enough.
Right.
And so, when talking about like God, I can't tell you how many times growing up I was like, God, like, let me make this shot.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you make this shot, then I will. You start bargaining.
Oh yeah.
Because I am so focused on the now, the here, the temporal things in our lives, because I'm get caught not focusing on the long game.
Right.
I'm so focused on what's right in front of my face.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, how do you just that belonging?
Yeah, and that makes me think. So think about: has there ever been a time in your life that you've said like, God, just do this, and I will never do this sin again? Like insert like God, I will. If you just do this, I'll never lie to my parents again. Like I'll never drink before I'm 21 again. Like I'll never smoke another cigarette. I'll never whatever. Like fill it with whatever. Like I'll never do this again if you just do this one thing, God. And it's the moments that we have those are often the moments when we're like convicted, but we don't feel like that otherwise. Like if there's not some, if we're not like at a camp moment or like an SDYC moment and feeling like really convicted, like the moments that when we draw close to Christ and we're really in the moment, like then we feel like, God, if you just do this, I'll never do this again. And because we're so focused on the like, okay, this prayer is going to happen because God doesn't want me to, and I'm going to deserve. So He's going to deserve my attention because I deserve this thing to happen.
Yeah. And not to hate on Carrie Underwood, but like the thing that pops in my mind is like Jesus take the wheel, like those moments of like,
right,
God, if you just do this,
right,
then things will change. And I'm not a big fan of that song, but or I'm not even a hater of Carrie Underwood, but like that idea of like, in these moments of desire, in these moments of like pain or whatever, or struggle, that we're like making these wagers.
Right, yeah. So I guess the main thing we want to take away with today is that there's so many kingdoms that we could kind of like operate under that we don't even know about. And so if you were going to do anything tonight when we finish up, maybe when the video ends, I'm going to show the some more just the slides and the background music, the announcement slide stuff. Before you leave, spend like 1 minute and just analyze like those 4 questions, like why am I here? What's the problem? Is there a problem in my life? Like what's the solution to it and how does it end? And like, are you operating under a kingdom that you had maybe no idea? Because the most powerful kingdoms are often the ones that are unspoken, like the ones that just kind of happen and we fall into without even realizing it, which for a lot of people is the American dream. Or maybe like you've fallen under the Corona one and you're like, how it ends is I hate my life or I die. And so, but like think about for a second, like whenever we get done, like what kingdom are you operating under? Because the kingdom, when you pursue the kingdom of God, you're going to operate under a kingdom that will end with an eternal kingdom, not just a temporary satisfaction or not something short, but you're going to end with a kingdom that will bring forever fulfillment. You're going to end with a kingdom that is eternal. So that's what I wanted to get at tonight. Next week, we're going to be talking about kingdom perspectives and how maybe sometimes following the kingdom means we might have to drop some of our habits or our notions, but the kingdom is also not something that is supposed to push out all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff fits into the kingdom, and we have to prioritize our life in the right way. So with that, we hope you guys are having a good time with your lives. That's a weird way to say that. That's like a super awkward way to say that. So if you, the first person to guess the number that I'm thinking in my head between 1 and 20 and text it to me, I'll deliver a pizza to your house tomorrow. So the first number between 1 and 20, if you text me that number, I will deliver you a pizza to your house tomorrow. So maybe I'm hoping you heard me. I'm hoping maybe that if we'll realize that nobody's been listening the whole time. They just open their phones and leave it. But first person text me the number between 1 and 20 that I am thinking in my head right now. I will bring a pizza to your house. So other than that, we hope you guys tune in next week. We can't wait to see you, and we will see you later.